to another episode of Gregtech, Community Edition Modern. Pretty excited for today's episode. Decided I'd stand right in front of our smokestack as it's going to transform from blast furnace from the primitive blast furnace to the actual electric blast furnace today. We got a pretty fun episode in store. We're going to get a couple things. We're going to get our first circuits done, assembler, as well as the electric blast furnace. So, let's get right into it, as it's a lot of stuff to get into for today. I did get a bunch of the stuff up and ready, especially since a lot of this stuff is super simple. The copper nickel wires, you literally just need to get copper nickel, which is just a combination of nickel and copper. Any two inside of an alloy smelter will yield the max yield you can get. We're going to go ahead and get these out along with our tin alloy, because we do need the tin alloy to stuff into our assembler through this extractor. So we're first going to rewire that to come over here, auto eject, and suck in the tin alloy. Then to make the copper nickel coils, we do have one thing that we need to concern ourselves with, and that is, I thought it had a recipe. It does not. So it looks like what we've got to do here now is we just have to put these in, and we'll get what we need through time as soon as I take one of my cells and grab out that glue. Should see those start crafting. Assembler. You know what? We made a big mistake. Let's go get the bronze out, because I know I've got tons of that. And we'll go straight to... I want to say it's 6. It is 10. Oh, so we're going to have to wait a bit on that. It was a big mistake. I don't know why I was not paying attention. But those can go in there for now. And we can actually get started on the rest of a couple other things we need. So we need to make the Invar resistant, the heat-proof Invar machine casings, which require our Invar plates and rods. And so to make those machine casings, we can do it in the assembler using the number 6, but we also need these frames. And those frames can be made in the assembly with number 5. So let's go ahead and do number 5 with the Invar rods. Or sorry, number 4 with the Invar rods. And we need 5 crafts of these to make the amount that we need. And we can switch that to 5. Pop those on in. Okay. 6. There we go. Okay. So there's 1 stack. We just need 2 stacks of these to make what we need, so we'll be done with that shortly. And then we can make the blast furnace, which does require these, my 2 tin cables, and my blast furnace. So this, to make the control block for it, we got our heat-proof casing, our 3 circuits, and 3 blast furnaces. Where is the electric smoker? For every 90,000 above the recipe temperature, a multiplicative 95% energy multiplier is applied. Pre-overclocking. So, above, for 800 1800K above Kelvin. That's why it's confusing. It is in Kelvin. Just do a number of things in my head that's screwing me up. So, once we're at 1800 Kelvin above the recipe temperature, one overclock becomes 100% efficient for perfect overclock. For every voltage tier above MV, temperature is increased by 100K Kelvin. But there is that. The last thing that we're going to need is we need to use these low voltage coils. And I believe we need our machine holes. And we need 2 more wires, which I thought I had enough wires in this chest, but I guess I skimmed out a little bit when I was crafting other things. So we pop that out, that can come out. And we should be able to put in our bronze foil and copper nickel and get those started. So those are going to take a second. Need our 4 rubber sheets. And there we go. Now we should be able to make both of our charging ports that we're going to need. And then I did actually get it set up to already have some of the stuff ready back here. So we're going to go ahead and mine all of these blocks, get them out of here. We'll have to put a new floor down, it looks like. But that will get that all out of the way. I even put my battery buffer in here with currently just a regular 4x cable, because I'm only putting in one of them at the moment. But while we're waiting for our copper nickel coils, I should be able to pull out, I don't know why I keep doing this, the rest of my polished granite and slab up this base. The nice part is because it's an 8 buffer, I can actually fuel 2 of them once I get a second one set up, which is something I do plan on doing in the future. So we're still going on that, but we can go grab the rest of our blocks and start getting ready to set this up. So we do need a maintenance hatch, an input and output hatch, an input and output bus, and a muffler. The muffler cannot be obstructed, so we're probably going to place that facing up right there. As for the energy hatches, we are wanting them in the back, and I'm thinking probably right next to this wire is going to be our best bet. So we've got our energy hatch there, and there. The maintenance hatch we can do at the side so we have access to it. Muffler. We want our input and output hatches. So this one, first of all, can go right there. Then we want this right in the center. Now, as for what we're going to be doing with input and output, I think I want... Oh, let's look at the aluminum recipe, because that's the first one we're going to be using. Aluminum. So to make our ingots, we need the electric blast furnace. There is nothing else. So the only other one we want to look at here, we should have all of our coils now. That should finish that quest, which will unlock the blast furnace, which we just got to pick that back up. All right. So, this is what I wanted to look at. So to get manganese phosphate, we just need it again. So, I guess for this very first build of it, let's see what we've got. So if I have it there, I can have 2 pipes coming in and out here and 2 pipes coming in and out here, because we have space. The only issue that I have with that is right now that makes it more of a pain to access, so I think we're just going to go ahead and plop them up front. I can always change this around later. We'll do output on the right, input on the left, and that is our base. And then I guess we could do fluid inputs on the bottom for now. Again, I don't really love that idea, so I think we'll just leave it with invar casing. Let's actually move our maintenance hatch 1 this way. The muffler case we'll put back here because we shouldn't access the back unless we are not currently cooking something up. We need to put our copper nickel coils down. Stop there, and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 copper nickel coil. Input, or sorry, I guess we got the outputs on the bottom, inputs on the top. We'll do that, that's fine. So there's that. And then that. Why is that not complete? Oh, does the muffler have to be up top? Maybe the muffler has to be up top. Let's try that. Muffler up top. Leave it open. Casing, there we go, that's what it is. Yeah, muffler has to be on the top, I guess. So now we've got our outputs on the bottom, our inputs at top. And then the only other thing I did want to make sure, so if we got 4, we do want another 2 pieces of tin. Let's get this all put away somewhere out of the way. Get 2 more pieces of tin to throw on into our wire mill. 2 more pieces of that. Take our clippers out. Wire cutters. And that gives us our last tin cable. Then we can put it there. Clip it on in. Clip it on in. And so now, max recipe tier MB. So we should be able to just take some aluminum, which I know I've got a chunk of it lying around in a couple different chests here. There. It's in my backpack, maybe? Thought I had more than 7, but I guess not right now. Maybe it's in here? Yeah, there it is. That was what I was looking for. Okay, and then I'll take all of this, Go into our input bus. If we chuck it on in there. Alright, something... Oh. We need a programmed circuit of 1. Nitrogen gas makes it quicker. It's idling. Oh, wrench, screwdriver, soft mallet, hard hammer, wire cutter, and crowbar. That's right. Crowbar, screwdriver, soft mallet. Should be all of it. I totally forgot about maintenance hatches. I know we had to do it one for the boiler over there, but kind of forgot about it altogether. And so now, that'll slowly get through all of that aluminum we've got, which is really nice. So, let's just check up on... I think we want to tick this up just a little bit. We'll go up to 35%. Double check our steam. It looks like our steam's doing okay. But this will start to eat through our battery supply now. Because it's going to use way more than it would standard. Now, as we don't use some of these machines quite as often, especially these two, I'm just going to go ahead and take this one for now with one of the wires. And we'll go plop it down right next to it with the wire. And then we'll take our wrench and our wire cutters, wire cut that directly into the box and out. Pump in some steam. So maybe, yeah, that adds a little bit of time, but these will be eating through power, and especially since we've got 4 in there, 4 amps can come out to go in there to power this, which is how much it needs to be able to run. Let's go ahead and take a look at what else I need to get. Oh, we were waiting on... What were we waiting on? Was that it? Oh, I guess that was it. Now, the other thing I wanted to get done is we need to make some mid-tier circuits. So that was needing. Go in here. Oh, that's right. I forgot to get these ready. Kind of. I've got wood pulp in here. And I've got... So we can get a couple of them in there. And I believe it just needs a certain... Ugh, I didn't save the recipe. Needs 1. So let's go ahead and put in a 1 to get that going. And it needs silver wires. Silver. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll be enough for the 2 that we need. So, combine that together. And then from there, we just need our copper wires, our steel plate. I guess I don't have the steel plates ready. I knew I was missing something when I was looking at getting everything ready, but I couldn't figure out what it was. It at least it wasn't like I missed a whole bunch of stuff for the blast furnace, because now that's going nice and quickly here. Then we've got our silver wire. Coat those boards in the silver wire. Getting 2 of those. Place in that. And we'll grab out the rest of our supplies right here. For the circuit assembler is what we're going towards. But now we can use those with the... oh boy. Well, that's not what I wanted. This is why you always check what number your thing is before you stick it in. Okay, so now we can use those to make those circuits. That's our very first MV circuits, and now we just need to make this other thing up here that I prepped everything for, the LV emitter. Don't tell me I ran out of stuff. I ran out of stuff again. There's that. Oh boy. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, there's 5, 6. And now we just need steel rods and copper. So let's go do that. Steel rod. Copper. Steel rod. Into the saw. Looks like we're already out battery-wise back here. Which means we might want to disable this. Oh. Saw. Oh boy. Get our vacuum tubes. Again. That's all I needed. And then we make those basic circuits, which I still need my plates for. Oh boy. I think oh no, that's what I'm doing all this stuff to make more of them when I don't even need to, because I forgot. When you complete the quest, we'll get another resin. We get 4 of these electronic circuits. Oh boy. I forgot that's why I didn't need any more. Because now we can just go straight into crafting our LV emitter, which is used in a couple of different recipes. The first big one that we're going to want was the basic circuit assembler. So now I can set this up, and I think I'm going to set it up with the assembler for now. But now we can make our crafting of our electronic components a whole lot easier, because we can either use liquid tin or liquid soldering alloy, which will use even less material if we do that one. And we will also yield 2 basic electronic circuits out of that recipe. So that is pretty exciting, as that will make the next set of stuff a whole lot easier. This gives us 1 medium voltage circuit back. This we don't need to worry worry about that. Or that one. Then I think that was all I had planned for the most part. The last thing I wanted to look at getting is this manganese phosphide, which we need. Phosphorus and manganese, which I can't remember. Sephrosite, wolfite, pyrolusite, tantite, olivine, tungsten, shellite. I don't think I have any way to get that. I think the only one that I could have done is olivine, but I don't have any of that. Pyrite. Nope. Let's do this one. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. So I'm going to have to go out and get a bunch of those for next episode. And we can look at getting in this area over here. What is this? A feature of the soft mallet, as you are maybe aware, is the ability to pause machines. However, did you know that if you sneak whilst pausing a machine, it will tell the machine to continue operating until it finishes its recipe? This is perfect if you need to make changes to a multi-block, but don't want to void items, as unforming a multi-block will void all inputs. Okay, yeah, that's important. Then we got multi-block techniques. Multi-blocks bear a large variety of interesting mechanics that might have been daunting, but don't worry, we've written a guide to help you learn in the tips and tricks. With the blast furnace, we can read a couple last things here. So our MV circuits, well, got any aluminum ingots yet? Each electric age has circuits corresponding to its tier. The good electronic circuit is the first MV circuit you can make out of 3 tiers of MV circuitry. Always be on the lookout for a cheaper way to make your circuits. New sets of recipes become available each time you make a new tier of circuit assembler. Conveniently, this tier of circuit unlocks one now. Its recipes are far cheaper than handcrafting circuits. Having this and aluminum will grant you access to MV machines. And then we have this quest explains the core mechanic of electric blast furnace, whilst the quest below will explore the mechanics of the multi-block parts. Be sure to refer to them. Anyway, the EBF is your first electric multi-block. Congrats. You use this process materials at high temperatures. You'll become familiar with the EBF to make aluminum and progress to the MVH. It can also make steel faster than a PBF. It's important to keep in mind that the EBF is a beefy boy. A minimum power cost to run the recipe is 120 EU per tick. That's slightly under 4 LV generators. This is why it was locked behind the battery quest. You may wish to consider building a separate power line with separate generators and a battery buffer to run this, which is exactly what we've done so far, and we're going to add more into that for sure. But we can go grab out our aluminum and finish that recipe. It looks like the battery buffers are still processing. But we can come in here, grab out a few pieces of aluminum. That will finish our aluminum quest. Well, can you show us an MV circuit as well? Aluminum is the main ingredient for MV machinery. Check all the way to the other side of the Sapphire quest if you haven't acquired any aluminum dust yet. Once you set up an MV electrolyzer, you can get aluminum through many other ores. All of this quest's rewards bear aluminum, so keep an eye out. For them when mining. The process of smelting aluminum can be cut down by a third with nitrogen. which is obtained by centrifuging air from the gas collector. You will still need MV circuits in order to make the MV machines. So we totally can get into MV next time if we want to, but I don't know if there's much of anything here that's going to actually be useful to get into right away, as the stuff that I want to get into is multi-block structures. And so okay, that's pretty nice. We can get into mining with a digital miner pretty soon too. Got a basic. What? Really? Takes 8 seconds per block though for that one. That's pretty crazy that we've got my digital miner. Like it used to be, the miners you had to go all the way to high voltage to start that, but that'll be a nice thing to get into. Though we're gonna have to start progressing towards the fluid rigs and the distillery pretty not as early actually as we want, as you would think. So that's actually something that's kind of nice. But one thing we can do is we can switch over to the steam generator that produces the higher tier. And if we do that and get a transformer, we can have one of these produce enough for the one electric blast furnace. We can lower it down and then have it input into the two inputs, and it'll work, which will be nice. But that's still to be decided, especially since I think the first thing we want is we want to get that unlimited cable for LV, so that we can kind of have a power plant that stretches out to wherever we need it. But this was a fun time getting ready for MV and producing our very first electric blast furnace in this series. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!